Hi everybody, my name is Emily. Welcome back to my channel. My favorite makeup today would be all of my highlighters. And even though I love them very, very much, we're going to go through them today because this is a highlighter declutter. I'm not promising anything. I don't know if I will be able to get rid of anything, frankly. But I'm going to hope really hard that I can be brave, that I can handle this in a mature and adult fashion, and know that the fact that the drawer that my highlighters live in is way too full, and that my little palette holder just for highlighters is also pretty full and not everything fits. So I'm going to try to be ruthless today. I'm going to warn you in advance. I'm not going to get rid of a lot of the palettes for sure, but we will take a look and see if there's anything that is, not really worth keeping. And we're also going to do swatches, because why not? I love highlighters. So great, so let's get going. This is a little overwhelming. I don't even know where to start. So let's start with something that I know we're not getting rid of, but I just want to talk about it because I love it so much. This would be the Kat Von D Metal Crush Extreme Highlighter Palette, and these are the shades in it. They're very shiny, so when I try to film it, it's sometimes very difficult to not get completely reflective. So this is really beautiful. It has a really nice mirror, but yeah, I think that's probably the best we're going to get to see what the colors are. There's this beautiful peachy color. This is sort of a goldy, greeny, really interesting undertones. I really loved this one. And then this is Rouch. This has this beautiful, bright, pink, glittery extravaganza. These are all very glittery. That doesn't mean I don't love them. I love them very much, but just so you know. So that first one, that's Gamma Ray. The middle one is Helix. And the third shade here is Rose Shock. So as you can see, those are those guys. They're so beautiful. It's entirely possible as we're going through these highlighters, I might find better dupes because there's a really hard time finding dupes for these. So this is the Metal Crush palette. I am definitely keeping this. I just got it, and even if I didn't just get it, I love it. It's really beautiful. So we're definitely keeping this. So I'm going to put my keep pile over here. All right, next up, yeah, there's a lot of relatively new things, and I don't want to get rid of them necessarily, but at least we should go through them. So this is the Milk Makeup. This is the Holographic Power Quad in Space Jam. I had no idea it was called Space Jam, but I find that hilarious. These are the shades that it comes with. This normally retails for $49. It's on sale at Sephora, at least it was, for $30. I think it's definitely worth $30. I don't think it's worth $49 though. That's crazy. So I haven't really, I know that the colors do have names, but I don't actually know. Oh, that one does not swatch very well. I don't know what they are because it doesn't really say on the back. It just sort of describes, what the colors are, but it doesn't really say necessarily what their names are. So what you get is you get a really nice sort of like bright pinky color. This is just a basic white highlight. This is sort of a more muted pink. It's a little darker. It doesn't shine nearly as much. It's definitely a more subtle color. And then this lovely blue here in the corner. So I do really like these so far. I think they're very pretty. They're not the most pigmented highlighters I have. You don't get a ton of product in this guy. I think they're 4 grams each, which isn't huge. It's not bad, but it's not a ton, which is why I thought the $49 price was really kind of silly. But for right now, I do like this. I'm going to give it a try and try it a few more times. It looks really beautiful on the skin, I must say. But I don't know that I would have paid full price for this, but I'm happy to have it. So I'm going to keep this for now. Frankly, it'd be boring. I know I'm definitely going to be keeping this Aurora Glow Kit. I'm a big fan of this kit. I think it's really beautiful. So this is what Eclipse looks like. Next, this is Luna. Then we have Spectra, which is beautiful purple. Helio, which is this really interesting sort of greeny, goldy, it's just really beautiful. And then we have Orion, which is a lovely teal, and Lyra, which is a really neat like gold, but it has sort of like a pink undertone to it, though not nearly as strongly as Eclipse does. So in terms of, do I have any dupes already on my arm? Frankly, this guy and this guy look very similar. So this was the Milk Makeup, and this is the Aurora palette. That's in the shade, I believe that's Luna. So Luna's a pretty, sort of like a better version of this Milk Makeup one. So that's what we have so far. I do really like this, so I'm definitely keeping it. If anything would go first, it'd be the Milk Makeup, but since I just got it, I'm going to try it a little longer. Same thing with the Moonchild. I know I'm not getting rid of this. I haven't actually had it very long. I purchased this once it became available at the Sephora website, which was relatively recently. Although not in time for the giant sale that they just had on it. So that was a little bit of a bummer. Just because I haven't really purchased from the Anastasia website directly, most of the stuff I've wanted to get eventually comes around. So I do really like this palette. I think it's really nice. I do find that Blue Ice and Blue Moon, at least for me, don't look super different. That'd be this guy and this guy. And I don't necessarily think that the subtlety of Purple Horseshoe is necessarily that subtle. They are different colors than these two blues. These are definitely more of an icy blue as opposed to there's more of a purple shift with these. But in terms of like actual dupes, I'd say that this Milk Makeup is very similar to Pink Heart. So this Milk Makeup also kind of has a dupe. So that's 2 so far. Or actually, no, that might be 3. So this is fairly similar. These guys are pretty similar. And this is pretty similar to that. So far I've already duped out 3 out of the 4. And that other pink one is kind of weak sauce. So I bet I'll find something else that's similar to that too. So definitely keeping that as well. This is going really well. Alright, next we're going to talk about the Anastasia Beverly Hills Nicole Guerriero Glow Kit. I'm definitely keeping this. It's my favorite highlighter palette. I always take this with me when I travel. This is definitely more of a... This is a very metallic palette. It's very shimmery. I don't tend to have a problem with glittery fallout, though I have heard that that is a thing, and I totally respect your opinion. It just doesn't... I think I tap enough off that I don't get a glitter problem. I definitely look metallic, but I don't look glittery per se. And for me, so that's this section of colors here. Yeah, it looks like Forever Lit, at least in this lighting, is pretty similar to the blue from the Moonchild palette as well. This is a lot more iridescent than this Milk Makeup one or this guy from Aurora. And these two coppery ones, that's Glow Gutter and 143, they're very similar on me. They don't look that different from each other. And that's just because I'm fairly pale and there's just not a subtlety of difference there. But I do like this palette. I tend to stick with the first 4 colors. I do use both of these, but I tend to use these 4 first, and then I take these guys as well. But I think this is a really great palette. I think it was reappearing briefly on the Anastasia website. Just for the sale for the holidays. It is a really good palette. If you get a chance to pick it up, you should. It doesn't mean you can't dupe it out from other things. You totally could. So if you didn't get it, it's not the end of the world. I think that there are some similarities, at least for these guys, with some of the new Fenty Beauty highlighters. And you can get a similar effect with other ones from the Anastasia line. So like the Forever Lit, you can basically get the same effect if you're using from Moonchild. What was that guy? If you're using Blue Moon, it's very similar. It's in the same sort of family. And the rest of these, they're lovely, but they're basic pinky champagne-y shimmers. You can find another one like it if you don't get it, but I do think the quality on this is great. Yeah, this isn't going very well in terms of decluttering. This is really just, let's show off my highlighter palettes. So maybe we'll get to that, get to some decluttering eventually. So this is the Huda Beauty Summer Highlighter Palette. This is the one that had the insane purple highlighter, which is really what I bought it for. So the way this works is that this is a cream highlighter here, and then these 3 are powder highlights. I find these are a little bit harder to work with than most of my highlighter palettes. They work best if I put that cream one on first. So that's Saint-Tropez. Then we're gonna have Malibu right next to it. We'll put, this is Copacabana. And then the whole reason I bought this in the first place, that is Mykonos. That is the best color in the world. I'm not going to pretend it's the most flattering color on me. It's not, and I don't care one bit. I still love the highlighter palette. I'm still happy I bought it. I still wear it anyway. I also wear it as an eyeshadow. Like, I'm obsessed with this color. It's just a color I really like. And speaking of duping things out, the pink in this summer highlighter palette, so the Copacabana shade, that's pretty much exactly the same as that Milk Makeup. So the Milk Makeup palette has been duped on my arm by other things at this point. So if you don't already have it, you don't. If you've got all this other stuff, you don't need it. You don't need it. Okay, so I've got 2 more Anastasia kits to go through. So this is the Sundipped Glow Kit, which I don't actually use very often. I've only used it a couple of times, just because I kind of got obsessed with the Nicole Guerriero, to be frank. So this is in the shade Summer. It's a really pretty color. I forgot how pretty that is. Then we have Moonstone, which these are a little more subtle, I think. And I'm just gonna get bronzed and tourmaline. So here is bronzed and here is tourmaline. I think my favorite is I really love this tourmaline color. I just think it's really lovely. But it's also very similar to one of the colors in the Nicole Guerriero. So what is that color? It's the second to last guy, Nicole Guerriero. I guess that's Daydream, I think. Yeah. So you can get a similar effect to that. And then this is just a really beautiful coppery color, but it's also kind of similar to my Huda Beauty. But I do really like the glow kit. I just haven't used it a ton. I think I got it when it was on sale. I like it a lot, but I've been busy doing other things. And then this is the new Sugar Glow Kit, which sadly to say, I think I swatched it once and I haven't really used it at all. So this is Marshmallow. I love the iridescence on that, although that's kind of similar to the Huda. We have Gumdrop. Oh, that's more pink than I remember it being. And then we have, this is Butterscotch, and that is Starburst. So Starburst is really pretty. I'm a big fan of Starburst. Frankly, what is the pinky one? Gumdrop is also a really good dupe for that Huda, which is also a dupe of this Milk Makeup. So up here we've got the Sugar Glow Kit. I do really, have a really beautiful subtle shift to them that makes them just look really, they're just really unique in comparison. Can you get a similar effect on your face? I'm sure that you can with other things, but I just really liked this kit, and these were colors I'd never tried because it didn't have the other Anastasia kits. So I bought it, and I'm not sorry about it. I do think they're very pretty. I also think that when the luster on the Nicole Guerriero has faded a little bit and I take other palettes with me on vacation, I'll definitely take this guy because that's some really beautiful shimmers that we're getting out of that. Definitely keeping that one. Okay, so let's get to something that I think is a little easier to get rid of. So this is the Sephora Luminizing Palette. And this guy is a very affordable palette. It doesn't come with a mirror, but it is a plastic. It is plastic. It sort of feels like a Z palette. And it's got 6 pretty interesting shades. It is a little bit chunky. Running out of space. All right, we're gonna go over here. Yeah, it's kind of chunky. I don't know the names of these colors. You'll have to excuse me as I wipe my hands in between these because I'm just highlighting the crap out of my pants. My makeup wipe has fallen to the ground. We're in the middle of something. We're in the middle of something beautiful. Alright, so that is the Sephora highlighter palette. Is it a good palette? I think it's very nice. I think it has some pretty colors in it. I think it's similar to the Nicole Guerriero in the sense that like the shades are similar. So if we're looking at Nicole Guerriero, it's here. And then this is the Sephora one. The pinks are definitely a little bit lighter, and that first one I swatched is super chunky. I don't know if it's just because it's been sitting for a little while, but that just sort of came off in chunks on my finger. It's a nice palette. I think it blends pretty well. Do I like it as much as these other guys? No, it's not as intense. This is definitely, you get more of a subtlety here with the Sephora palette. So if I was going to get rid of anybody, I think I'd get rid of this one. Mostly just because this is so chunky that it's gross. Like, I'm not feeling that at all. So we're gonna get rid of a palette. Hooray! I guess this is mostly just to talk about how pretty highlighters are. Alright, next up is, this is my Kat Von D Alchemist palette. It is well used, it is well loved. I don't anticipate getting rid of it. I'm aware that it is very similar to the Moonchild in many ways, and I totally acknowledge that. But I may have mentioned this in another video, but in case you didn't see it, my thing with this Kat Von D Alchemist palette, so those are the 4 that come in the Alchemist palette, and here we have Moonchild, so they're pretty similar. The formula on these I think is just wonderful. These are really great to put on top of a lipstick. It actually will set my lipstick and keep it the rest of the day. I don't even worry about it. It won't come off if I'm drinking anything. It'll just stay on. So I love the formula in these. I also really like them as eyeshadow. I don't like the Moonchild as much for eyeshadow, whereas I think these are really good, like, transformative shades. So, like, I do love this palette. It's one of my favorites, and I take it with me a lot, so I really love that one. All right, and we have 2 more palettes left to go through, and I'm pretty sure I'm not getting rid of either of them, so this is going to be super fun. I'm just going to swatch them on my arm. Anyway, so this is brand new. I just got this guy. This is the Cover FX Perfect Highlighting Palette. This is an Ulta exclusive. This is what it looks like. It's also looks similar to the Sephora guy, but the colors are not really the same. But I guess I'll try to swatch it nearby so you can see the differences. The formula on these is really lovely. Yeah, we'll just go this way. La la la. Eventually I'll run out of arms. I'll never run out of highlighters, but I'll run out of arms. And then we have these guys. These all do have names, by the way, but what they are, I want to look at, I flip it over to look. So we have Blossom, Prism, no, that's Prism. The colors are Blossom, Prism, Rose Gold, Golden Peach, Celestial, and Gilded. They're really lovely. It's a really good formula on these. Like this, the formula on this is really impressive. I was not sure I was going to buy it, and then I went and swatched it in the store, and I just really enjoyed the formula. They're very metallic, they're not glittery, they look really beautiful on the skin, and they wore really well. Like, I just wore these out, and I was really impressed with these. There was some other makeup I was wearing that day I was far less impressed with, but this stuff, this was really good. So I definitely really like this palette. I'm definitely a fan. I do think it's kind of similar to this guy, which was also on sale, like, ad nauseum. I like to keep the little plastic things, just keeps it from getting dust everywhere. So these two look very similar. They're not exactly the same because obviously the Becca one has a bronzer in it. This palette, I tell you, that the Becca one has a bronzer in it, whereas the Cover FX does not pretend to have like a bronzer or a blush situation. But the colors, I'm not gonna lie, they are kind of similar. I'll try to swatch the similar ones next to each other. So like the 2 blues are not really that different from each other. I think this is the closest to that. This doesn't have an exact analog, but I'll put that one there. I think this guy would swatch there. This guy I'll swatch here. And last up, we've got that blush. So the blush is definitely a blush. It does not have a shimmer to it. But yeah, the color family is very similar. Do you need both? You probably don't. I mostly bought this because I do really like Becca face products. I find that if I'm looking for a subtler highlight, I'll go with the Becca, unless I layer it a lot, but I don't have to layer it if I'm going to do something more conservative, that I can just do a nice wash of color. I also do like the blush formula, and I wanted to get one. Plus, I think the bronzer in this is pretty nice. It doesn't have nearly as much shimmer as some of the other bronzers that I have. So I thought this would be a good thing for traveling. So I'm not sorry I have both. Do you need both? I don't think you do. If you already have other blushes that you like, I would probably just get the Cover FX. But if you're, you know, you're a big Sephora person and you prefer Sephora, that's why I ended up with this guy first, and then I bought the Cover FX. But I'm happy to have both of them, but they are very similar. You don't need both. But I fully admit I wanted both, and so I have both. So yeah, so that's all of my palettes. So I'm doing really well, guys. I am getting rid of 1 palette so far, and all of the other palettes are gonna just hang out over there. So we still have all of this to go through, but I think we're gonna call it here, and I'll just split this highlighter video into 2. So in terms of part 1 highlighter palettes, I have failed terribly in terms of decluttering, but I've succeeded immensely in covering my arm with beauty. So you know what, I'm fine with that. So thank you so much for watching. I'll hope to see you for part 2, and have a great day. Bye!